Hello, Team Cryogen. Today we're going to talk about bikes for the Bologna TT. They're the Giro d'Italia ink back. So pretty much since last Monday, everybody's kind of we've had conversations in the chat and even DCAT. I think the admin Badger Pack, Cryogen General Pack, and the Senior Badger Pack. All of these conversations have been, what's the best bike to use for the Bologna TT? We all have a few theories as to what it might be. Um, So some have a theory of let's just get to the climb faster. So let's get the most aero bike we can and get there as quick as we can and see if we can just hold on for dear life up the climb. Others are let's try to maximize our time on the climb. Really try to really actually minimize the time on the climb. Um, and extend out the amount of time in flats. So let's just take a look and see what we come up with. So the objectives for this: one, take a look at the course because it's important. We're gonna take a look at the bikes that I tested. Got to test two because my leg. We're gonna take a look at any of the power data from both rides, as well as times. We're gonna talk about the results, and then we're gonna kind of bring it all together and talk about where we're going from here and what my suggestion would be. You don't have to take my suggestion, or do you even have to care? So let's talk about the course overview. The distance is 8K. The first 6K are pretty much completely flat or downhill. There is 230 meters of climbing, pretty much all at the end. And the final climb is 2K at just under 10%. So it's very steep. It hits a ton of bricks and at 13% at the bottom, flattens out to 9, then back up to 13, then down to 9, then up to 12, and then flat over the top, or flat over the top, not 5 or 6%. So really the biggest thing about this though is pacing, because yes, majority of the distance is in the first, but really the amount of time is split about 50-50, where half the time you're going to spend on the second half of the time. So the bikes I tested were a Cervelo P5 with the 808 Super 9 disc, and this is about as aero as you can get. It's the third fastest TT frame, uh, flats as well as in the climb, so I picked that. Maybe something different could happen and maybe move forward with a different bike, but that's what I tested. And then I also tested the Tarmac Pro with the 858s. Y'all know the Tarmac Pro is the fastest bike uphill. I didn't run the Millensteins because it had a funny feeling that 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 bike setup was not. But I still gave it a good shot today, and came out with. So the data I found. So run one is at the top, Cervelo P5 with the 808 Super 9s. The S-Works Tarmac Pro was the second run down at the bottom, and as you could tell, the pacing was very similar. I took a little bit more recovery right before the hill, um, on the S-Works Tarmac, so maybe I didn't come into it fast enough. But as you could tell, my threshold power there is in red. Kind of hard to tell, but if you look right in this area right here, my threshold power, I was below threshold pretty much for the whole ride up till the time I hit the climb, and then the real effort began. So as you can tell, there was 5 watts difference between average power for the Cervelo and the Tarmac. Um, and in the flats, I pretty much held the same power plus 3 watts for the Cervelo. And then in the climb, it was plus 7 watts. And as you could tell there, the climbing time really between the very aero TT with 808 Super 9s and then like an S Works Tarmac Pro with 858s. 858s actually aren't bad as far as climb. I mean, they're not the Millensteins by any stretch of the imagination, but they are still pretty good. I It was minus 8 seconds with the full TT setup. Oh, like that's pretty impressive, being only 7 watts higher. That's fractions of a watt per kilo of a watt per kilo. So let's talk about results and time over the entire duration of the Strava segment. The Zwift Insider confirmed um, Bologna TT time are shown here on the Cervelo was 12 seconds faster than the Tarmac Pro. And I really think what that boils down to is the the amount of time you spend in the flats is significantly less. You can push right up there around the 80, 90, that 90 to 95%, and it's not going to hurt you as bad because you're not in the flats as long. So as soon as you hit the climb, you can really gun it, go all the way to the top, faster amount of time. So really, when it boils down to it, TT bike wins. The flat or in downhill section, it's right at the beginning because it pretty much goes straight downhill as soon as the ride starts. You can just, it's easy, 52k an hour, I think, is what I clocked just going down the first hill on the TT bike. Whereas even doing the same power on the tarmac, I was 4k an hour slower. I think I was doing 48k an hour. So that's 4k an hour separation for that one period of time. But if you extrapolate that, okay, you can really lose a lot of time there, and that's kind of where the 12 and that weight really isn't that big of a penalty on this sort of a course. The tarmac's only 8 seconds faster on the hill, but it's 20 seconds slower in the flats. That's plus 12 seconds for the TT bike. So as for pretty much every course in Zwift, bar the Alp and a few other courses, Arrow's king. Put your KOM hat on, mount your Super Arrow steed, and go right to the top as hard as you can. So, as far as what I would suggest would be Arrow's king, the most arrow bike you can. I would even so far as to say don't even worry about running a slightly slower TT bike just to try to make it a little faster on the climb. Run the fastest bike you have in the and hold on to the top. It's 8, 9, 10 minutes, maybe 7 minutes. Got to get over it. Put your head down, work, stare at your numbers, get the damn thing done. So, thank you guys for watching. If you have any further questions, you and have a